Krishna. You know how overwhelming it is when you have an audience that is more learned than you, or as learned as you are. And you may be wondering, why did I make that statement? Because
I have a reason to. In the beginning, we cracked jokes, so.
Oh, icebreaker. I think that was the icebreaker. It wasn't a joke. I said it is overwhelming that's the strongest expression that I could find in my dictionary, overwhelming. Because when you're leading the Mangalacharan, and the audience also knows it, sometimes you have to follow their lead. Yeah. So, thank you very much. All right, since somebody mentioned something about a joke. So what happens in these circumstances is that there is a small voice within you that wants to shout out. Tell all of them to keep quiet so that they can listen to you. However, the practice of Krishna consciousness trains you not to listen to that voice. It trains you because in Krishna consciousness, we realize that prakriteha kriyamanani gunahi karmani sarvasha. Everything is happening by the arrangement and mercy of the Supreme Lord's energy, material nature. Yes. So then you try to submit yourself to whatever would unfold. That is how we get trained. To not listen to that voice within you that could be the expression of one's ego, material ego, or abhiman, mithya abhiman. We also call it as ahankar. So once upon a time, a bhikshuk. Do you know what's a bhikshuk? You know what's a bhikshuk? What is a bhikshuk? All right, you go first. What is a bhikshuk?
Someone who is like begging for something.
Begging for something. Okay. How about you? A homeless person? All right. So, bhikshu, all right, this is for y'all, okay? So let's see if you will remember it for the rest of your life. Bhikshu has the word iksha in it. No, bhikshu. So ikshu, that iksha word is there. You know what is iksha? Iksha means eyes. So bhikshu is someone who comes to our doors and asks for alms. You know alms? Asks for some donation. Alms. 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 It's right. That's exactly. You can ask for alms. Yes. Yeah, that's TKG Academy ki jai. Okay, so iksha means they give the donor, the person who's going to give that donation, they give that person, like suppose I come to your house and beg for some donation or ask for some donation. So now you get the eyes, or you get an opportunity to give a donation. Therefore, a bhikshu is someone who is very much respected. Not necessarily a homeless person, all right? Could be a homeless person. It's not that they couldn't be, but not necessarily. Yeah. So bhikshu, or a monk, came to a particular community and was asking for donations. So the monk knocked on a door, and a young lady opened the door, and she said, go away, go away. So the monk is trained to accept all kinds of reactions. The monk just walked away. Some distance later, like a few feet away from this house, he met an old lady. She looked at him and asked him, who are you? He said, I've come here to ask for donations. Oh, really? And where are you coming from? He said, I just came from that house. That house? Did you get any donation? No, the lady of the house said that I have to go away. Really? She said that? That is my house. And she is my daughter-in-law. How dare she say that you have to go away? Please come with me. So she brings the Bhikshu, the monk, to her house. The door is opened by the daughter-in-law. Did you tell him to go away? She said, yes, we don't entertain monks. Who is the owner of this house? My daughter-in-law is like, you mother-in-law. All right. So how dare you give orders? So the monk was waiting there. So she turned to the monk and she said, go away. The mother-in-law tells the monk, go away. And the monk is like, all right. But she wasn't satisfied just saying that. She said, in this house, only my orders are followed. So I guess like mother-in-law, like daughter-in-law, and the tradition goes on. But jokes apart, in Krishna consciousness, we learn to be a little more open-minded. At the same time, we also have to be careful. We shouldn't be too large-hearted. Unless and until one has the facility to be large-hearted. Yeah. Like if someone comes up to me and says, I have nowhere to go. So I can tell that person, yeah, come along with me. He'll be very happy or she'll be very happy. And I'm like, so where are we going to stay? I said, under the whole sky. You know, just wherever on this earth we can live. The person wouldn't have anticipated that. Yeah. However, if you have a house, then you have to be careful. Who will attend, especially if you have family and children, then you have to do some background check in today's times. So one has to be large-hearted according to one's means and be careful too. Isn't it? Okay. Have you heard of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Everyone is quiet.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
You've heard of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Yes.
Anyone who's known by the name Chaitanya or Gauranga here? Okay. Yeah, I don't think so. You have any choice but to know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the son of Mother Sachi. He also happens to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is how we put it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the son of Mother Sachi. She trained him as a little kid. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu one day became a little annoyed. Yes. And he started smashing things around the house. And his mother was just sitting there quietly watching. And after he had done, expressing his annoyance, he realized, oh my God, what did I do? Little boy Nimai. So his mother came up to him and said, Nimai, you smashed all the pots, including the cooking pots, to pieces. In those days, the cooking pots would be made of clay. Yes. I mean, not wet clay, but clay that had been treated in a furnace. So everything was smashed. So she said, so now how will I cook for you? And then little Nimai realized, oh my God, next time I have to be a little careful how I express my annoyance. So she taught him. Sachinandan is how Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known as. He is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So once upon a time, he was wandering around. Any wanderers here? Any surfers here? Surfers who wander on the net?
Web surfers.
Yes, the various forms of the net. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are following the parampara, right? He was wandering around, so we also wander around. Looking for Krishna conscious content. That is how we put it to others. But he was wandering around. So he came to a place known as Baranagar. The place is originally known as Varahanagar. This is on the banks of the river Ganga, some distance away from Mayapur, south of Mayapur, closer to Kolkata. So he was there in Baranagar. And then as he was wandering down the streets, he heard someone beautifully reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, the verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was stunned. He completely forgot who he was, where he was. He was totally immersed in that chanting, the melody, and he could feel the devotional fervor in that person's chanting. So he went looking for that person. Now previously, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used, just as nowadays we track the IP address, so that is what he did. He went about looking for the footprints, traces that are left behind. Where is the sound coming from? Okay. So then he triangulated the source. You understand that? Triangulation. So don't think that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not know science. He used his senses, physical senses. So he did that triangulation. And he found this very decent looking place. He walks right in. And there is this gentleman reading from a book. It was a printed form of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down right there. The person was totally oblivious to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was totally oblivious to everything else. We cannot be oblivious to time. He was totally oblivious. So he most probably that was his daily routine. So he finished his sadhana. And then he gets up and he says, oh, there is this effulgent personality right here. He goes to welcome that personality and inquire from him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu springs up and he says, chant once more. Now the person was taken aback. He had never seen someone so excited. Maybe he got enthused. Maybe he was alarmed. But he sat down and started reciting the verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam again. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very pleased. And when he finished the recitation, it takes quite some time, right? So when he finished the recitation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was like, And he's like, sir, it's a working day tomorrow. There's school. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered his request. Please don't transcribe all of this and start a new Leela rendition like this. All right. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you chant so melodiously and there is so much devotion in the way you recite the verses. You are actually an acharya. And the man is like, who? Somebody just walked in. But I guess that person also was on Facebook and some kind of social media. So he realized that this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. News spreads, right? So the social media of those times had Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu all over. So you realize this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he's seeing him for the first time. So you know, when you see someone that you think you know for the first time, you feel a little hesitant. So it's not really sure. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, amazing. You are an acharya, you are a teacher, you are a great personality. And the more every single word of appreciation is making this person grow smaller and smaller and smaller. You know, some of those animation where someone, so that is, he was like really trying to, he got so crouched. He just wanted to disappear from that place. Wasn't able to hear his own appreciation. And after glorifying him much, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, since you recite the Bhagavatam so wonderfully, I request you that every single day continue this practice. Aren't we happy that Srila Prabhupada did not give us that as sadhana? Every single day, 18,000 verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Or should we follow that lineage? He said, every single day, please, every day, do this as your sadhana. Your life is successful, and anyone who is listening to you, their life is successful too. You shall henceforth be known as Bhagavatacharya. This pastime is there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Chaitanya Bhagavat too. Bhagavatacharya. That's all. After that, we do not know what happened to him. There was no newsletter every month about him. However, the authors, Vrindavan Das Thakur and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, they felt that this was sufficient for us to know. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated Srimad Bhagavatam as a very important literature. Yes. In the 12th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, the chapter itself is called The Glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is expressing its own glories. That's amazing, isn't it? Like we want to express our own glories. But the difference is, when we express our glories, there is a mixture of amala and mala.
Mostly mala.
There's a mixture of the two. What is amala? Amala means pure, and mala means impure. It's strange. In the English language, pure is a shorter word. Impure is a longer word made up of more alphabets. But in Sanskrit, mala, which is impure, has lesser alphabets than amala. So amala. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate. What does that mean? It means that this is a time in the lecture where we can all go off to sleep. This is a cue. Isn't it? Every time when we come for Srimad Bhagavatam class, every time, when the verse is recited, everyone is kind of in their own zone. And when it is recited back, the speaker is also in their own zone. Have you ever noticed that? The speaker is kind of planning. Experience speaks. And the audience is also like, going like that. All right, when is the main function going to start? Yeah. So that part of the Srimad Bhagavatam is not even the appetizer, what to speak of the main meal. So Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahansyam Ekam Amalam Gyanam Param Giyate. The Paramahansas, they say that this is the only Amala recitation to be done. Srimad Bhagavatam is glorifying, so you could say that maybe it is Bhagavatam Satishokti, over exaggeration. However, we have faith, so we accept that statement. Yeah. Who is a bigger Paramhansa than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Most of the adults would keep quiet. I was expecting at least one child to say Krishna. But that is true. Krishna is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, and still they are different. Yeah. So Krishna is also a Paramahansa. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also Paramahansa. Specifically Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he took sannyas. And sometimes the sannyas ashram is also referred to as the ashram of the Paramahansas. Paramahansa means those who are very focused in life. They are like completely focused. Like Arjuna was so focused when he was asked to look at his target. So Paramahansas are like that. They are very focused. The reason of their focus is not just that they're duty bound. The reason of their focus is that they are finding pleasure in being focused. Therefore, they are called as Paramahansas. Sometimes being duty bound, we can be very focused. Correct? Chanting, Arti, being duty bound, we can be very focused. Now, everyone has experienced Arti, right? Especially the offering of the ghee lamp, that aspect of the Arti. 4, 2, 3. Very focused, aren't you? Other than those 3 parts of the deity, you are completely unaware of the other parts of the deity. That is how focused we are. We are offering the lamp to the deity, but all we are focused on is 4, 2, 3, because duty bound. The day we have this blessing of finding pleasure, the hands will still perform those motions, but the heart would be jumping in joy. That is called as Paramahansa stage. Yes. So Ekam Amalam, they say that this is the one recitation that is completely untinged by any mala, by any contamination. Now, people explain that contamination means material contamination. All right. So, Yasmin Paramahansyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Avishkritam. This is what happens to someone who reads Srimad Bhagavatam. How many of us have read Srimad Bhagavatam? Hands.
Reading.
I'm not saying that you have read the complete Bhagavatam. I just said read Srimad Bhagavatam. Good, good. Very nice. Very nice. Yes. Very good, very good. Now, these are the consequences of reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Tatra jnana. One gets knowledge. You know what is knowledge? You know what is knowledge? Like if you want to know on Cyber Monday where you're going to get the best price. You have to research and get data, information, knowledge. And that is tangible knowledge. Similarly, when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, you get tangible knowledge about not just Cyber Mondays, but all Mondays, all Tuesdays. What is the best price for your life and life functions? Our life and life functions. That is Tatra Jnana. And when we understand what is the best price, the price tag that can purchase our very life functions, then we get virag from that, which does not have the capacity to purchase our life functions. This material world does not have that capacity. That is what the great teachers teach us. This material world doesn't have that capacity. Doesn't have the ability to purchase our life functions. What are our life functions? To love Krishna. Material world cannot purchase it. However, illusion is that it does try to purchase and we succumb. That is illusion. Interesting illusion. Yes. But who can purchase that? Who has the capacity to purchase the price tag that we have? Purchase our life functions. That is Gyan. And because of that Gyan, we realize who we have to dedicate our lives to. Therefore, there is Virag. Virag means detachment. Virag means going away from attachment, becoming free of attachment. Now, the word detachment is like, yeah, I'm detached. But the word going away from attachment makes more sense. Being free. Therefore, whenever you speak of vairagya, you're like, we all have to be detached. It's like something going over your head. What is it called as? Strike? No, the ball. Strike is when it's the right ball and you miss it. That's strike one, strike two. What happens when you kind of are not within the... That is cricket here. Baseball. What is it called as when it's too wide? To a foul? Foul.
That's soccer.
Soccer is foul. So detachment, when you speak of detachment, it's like a foul. Hey, something that wasn't within my zone, within my scope. I couldn't catch it. But when you say you have to go away from your attachments, you're like, that touches me. Yeah. So virag, if you do the sandhi vichhed, if you try to understand the real meaning, raga means attachment. So virag, going away from attachment. So tatra jnana viraga bhakti. And then there is bhakti. Sahitam naishkarmyam avishkritam. And there is nishkarma also. Yes. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam. All right. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a Paramahansa, he heard that devotee recite Srimad Bhagavatam, he could feel the emotions that were there. It was not just the melody. It was the sincerity. Isn't it? Like if someone tells me, can you give me $1 million check? I'm like, yeah, take it. I mean, I can give a check, whether yeah, it could bounce. It could very well bounce. But if there is a billionaire and that billionaire gives $1 million check, it has value. Isn't it? I can also give a check, otherwise, you can ask me, I'll give you. After it bounces, your bank is going to fine you. Isn't it? Yeah? So, sincerity. What is sincerity? Sincerity is where you are expressing using the resources that you have, not the neighbor's resources. Can I take this oven? We need it for some program. You're like, yeah, all right. Thank you so much. When do we return it? Whenever you want to. All right. After some time, the police comes up to them and says, why did you take away this oven? We asked. So they come to me and I say, well, they asked me, can I take the oven? So I said, yeah, you can. I mean, how do I care? Because it's not mine. It's the neighbor's. So that kind of sincerity is not helpful. So what is sincerity? Sincerity is your expression according to the resources that you have. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could detect that. And hence he anointed that devotee as Sri Bhagavatacharya. All right. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions? Comments?
I have a question, but not related to this. Actually, you were thinking
Why am I not surprised?
You were thinking we'll have class on this topic.
What?
On the question I'm asking. You were thinking maybe we'll request you to give the class on the topic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. What you described, that was very illustrative. Thank you so much. My question, Prabhuji, is essentially in life, all the events happen. We tend to say we have this mentality where we say, okay, by will of Krishna. But let's say I made choices, right? And the result of the outcome of the choices is up to you, right? And then there is a thinking, okay, if good happens, you give credit to Krishna. If the outcome is not good, you say it's my karma. So, as a devotee, how do we take it in our life? Because, for example, if you are late for a station or airport, you did not start on the time. How can you say, oh, it's the will of its arrangement, and now I missed my plane, I can stay one more day in Kalsindi Dham. That's a Kalsindi's arrangement. That's one perspective. But another perspective, you did not start on time, you did not plan properly. So I'm just trying to understand this whole notion. How do we take it in our life? Because I tend to say always, okay, it's good or bad, whatever, it's all arrangement of Krishna.
Okay. So
that's
you've already taken it in your life to be like that, no?
But that's not the right understanding, right?
I'm not saying that.
I keep hearing that, so I want to.
You keep hearing that when we accept any situation in life as being Krishna's arrangement, then maybe some people may not agree with it. And there are situations where somebody maybe justifies a certain situation by saying that it is the will of Krishna, and there are other situations where actually someone's interpretation of the will of Krishna is also correct. Is that what you're saying? So the question is, what is right?
Yes.
Everything is right. Everything is right as long as they realize that they are going to have different destinations. If I want to go to Houston, you want to go to Denver, then whatever you do in trying to get to Denver is right for you. Whatever I do in trying to get to Houston is right for me. Therefore, everyone is right. Now, if we want to establish a principle, then we would want to ask, what is the destination? What is the goal? What is the goal of accepting a certain interpretation of this statement, of this phrase, everything is happening by the will of Krishna, just the will of Krishna, by the will of Krishna? What is the goal that is supposed to be achieved? So, from the principal point of view, there can be only one goal. That is what is principle or siddhanta. Where all perfections end, that is called a siddhanta. Or where all paths find their destination, that is siddhanta. That is, in English, we call it principle. The essence of any process. Correct? So what's the goal? So according from the point of view of principle, siddhanta, the goal is one should be able to render service unto Krishna, Krishna seva. So any interpretation of, oh, this is happening by the will of Krishna, is it resulting in A, B, C, any all the persons involved in that situation rendering more service to Krishna? Or is there inertia? So if there is inertia, then everyone has room for improvement, whether they're partly right, 90% right, 100%, everyone has room for improvement. Devotional service is never static, it is dynamic. All right? So the focus is Krishna Seva. Is it helpful?
Yeah.
Apply the principle. Don't ask me. I don't know. I'm just a postman, postal peon. Yeah, that's the principle.
So you're saying that it doesn't matter whether we say it's the will of Krishna or not, as long as you are making progress towards the goal of being more devoted to Krishna, and not towards negative direction, then it's fine. Whether you accept as the will of Krishna or whether you accept as your own fault of your planning, both are fine as long as it's leading you towards Krishna.
What I'm saying is, whatever your interpretation is, if it inspires you to render devotional service unto Krishna, then yena kena prakarena man Krishna niveshe. Somehow or the other, focus your mind on Krishna. Or we could have a complete discussion on social media. It's quite possible. And that is also one of the paths, the path of delineation of knowledge, Gyan. That is also accepted. I'm not saying, but it's not accepted. But could do that. Principle is Krishna Seva. Jivira Swarup Krishna Nityadas. Krishna Seva. So does that delineation of knowledge lead to Krishna Seva? Then it is all right. Then it becomes yoga, Jnana yoga. Or there are other forms of Krishna Seva like Shravana, Kirtan, Smaran, Vandan, Darshana, so on and so forth.
Thank you for explaining the glories of Bhagavatam and how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu respected Bhagavatam and treated the topmost goal of life. So when we read Bhagavatam, there are some verses directly glorifying Krishna, and we tend to see that, okay, that's very nectarian, and there are certain portions which are like how the time is calculated and little bit not so directly seemingly connected to Krishna. So we seems to get attracted here and not so much there. We are not equally excited. First of all, we are not excited, but even if we are a little bit, it's more towards certain sections. So the goal is to transcend the stage and eventually see Krishna in each and every verse equally. Is that we should aspire for that goal?
That's a nice question. Is the goal to see Krishna in each and every verse? It sounds like the perfect statement, isn't it? That should give you not just full marks, but a little more. 105%. Like we should see Krishna in every verse. I'm not saying that it is. What I'm saying is that it sounds like that. It sounds that this statement is having this spiritual glow behind it, like the statement itself, because that is how the mind conceives of it, isn't it? Where did that conception come from? From the kind of rhetoric or the kind of narrative that we have heard or accepted in our life. Did we apply our buddhi to it, intelligence? Should we do that? Well, if our buddhi is completely engaged in serving Krishna, maybe it is not needed. However, if our buddhi is engaged a lot in analysis of the material world, then it is important that we also train the buddhi to analyze spiritual concepts. And this is a good concept to analyze, isn't it? In every verse, can you see Krishna? Well, it would mean that if we are able to do that, we could access a potential of being eternal beings. Because for eternity, then we will be doing that. Or it could also be true that somebody finds the 5th canto interesting enough, and somebody finds the 10th canto interesting enough, and they dedicate themselves to that limb of service. Just as there are 9 limbs of devotional service, if we can consider the various cantos also to be individual cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam. What inspires one? So that analysis has to be there rather than just buying a narrative and trying to, having it superimposed on ourselves. Dadami buddhi yogam. So I give devotional service here. Buddhi yoga means the intelligence is used in understanding what is the inspiration here to render service. Is that helpful?
Yeah. I'm getting a common theme in different answers you're giving is that primary goal is to go towards Krishna, and if that helps you, that's fine. They're all secondary things. But the primary thing is to serve Krishna and being devoted to Krishna, basically. Whether you do that by reading only one canto, whether you are able to do that by reading all the verses and see Krishna through all of them. So that is secondary aspect.
Okay.
That's how I am saying, but maybe I'm wrong if you want.
No, I'm not. As long as that is not a question, I don't have to answer it. So I just accept that statement. It's a comment. Thank you for that comment. Yeah? Should it stop? Yes? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.